5, verse 14.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Bible and Revelations. This is episode 21. We're reading Genesis 12. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you watching this. And please like and please subscribe. And look at the items I have for sale in the description. First, I'll read some notes from Genesis 11, and then we'll read Genesis 12, and then from Genesis 11. God's intent for the nations was for the peoples to spread across the earth, not to congregate in one place. In the beginning, he told mankind to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, because he wanted the whole earth populated with his image bearers. This command was a foreshadowing of the Great Commission, in which Jesus told his disciples to repopulate the earth with a new race of spiritual people, born again in the image of his Son. And they disappointed him when they when Nimrod had the Tower of Babel built, and they were all coming together, all the humans speaking one language. It disappointed God that they were proud and wanted to build a temple to reach heaven. It made God feel that they were ignoring him and being prideful and thinking that they didn't need God. So he confused them and had them spread out over the earth. So here we go, Genesis 12. The promises that were made to Abram. Now the Lord had said to Abram, "Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Then Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the people whom they had acquired in Haran, and they departed to go to the land of Canaan. So they came to the land of Canaan. Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, and as far as the terebinth tree of Moreh. And the Canaanites were then in the land. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your descendants I will give this land." And there he built an altar to the Lord who had appeared to him. And he moved from there to the mountain east of Bethel. And he pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. So Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. Abram goes to Egypt. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to dwell there, for the famine was severe in the land. And it came to pass, when he was close to entering Egypt, that he said to Sarai his wife, "Indeed, I know that you are a woman of beautiful countenance. Therefore it will happen when the Egyptians see you, that they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me, but they will let you live." Please say you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that I may live because of you." So it was, when Abram came into Egypt, that the Egyptians saw the woman that was very beautiful. The princes of Pharaoh also saw her and commended her to Pharaoh. And the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. He treated Abram well for her sake. He had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male and female servants, female donkeys, and camels. But the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister? I might have taken her as my wife. Now therefore, here is your wife. Take her and go your way." So Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. It has been said that, that's the end of chapter 12. Here's some notes. It has been said that for Abram, who would be renamed Abraham, the symbol of his wife was a tent, but the secret of his life was an altar. The tent spoke for his pilgrimage, of the fact that he never owned the land. There were times in Abram's life that he moved from place to place. There were also long periods where he lived in tents in the regions of Hebron and Beersheba, but only rarely do we read of Abraham living for a time in a city. The altar speaks of his fellowship with God, for it was the focal point of his worship, as God confirmed his commands. Abram confirmed his faith by worshiping and building an altar. In addition to Abram's worship was his witness. Refusing to worship on pagan altars, Abram built his own, a clear testimony of his commitment to the one true God. This is remarkable because he had been an idolater. And when he called on the name of the Lord, it was more than prayer. He proclaimed those promises in the Lord's name, testifying of his faith in the living God to the people who observed his worship. A tent and an altar are also the picture of the Christian life. According to God's word, we are pilgrims and strangers here, the tent. But we are also to be in fellowship with the Lord by way of worship, the altar. And we, like Abram and Sarai, are to be witnesses of the reality of God in our lives. These difficult commands the Lord gives to Abram were connected to extraordinary blessing. God's blessing of Abram would be both material and spiritual. Abraham's blessing of others would be spiritual. As part of this covenant, God promised that those who treated Abram poorly would be cursed. History shows this to be true. Those who abuse the Jewish people pay a price. The ultimate blessing, however, would be realized in the coming of the Messiah, in whom all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Abram's obedience was evident. He departed just as the Lord had spoken. The Lord appeared, suggests as a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ. Here in Canaan, God first promised Abram this land. Sarah, or Sarai, as she is called here, was 65 years old and still a woman of beautiful countenance. She was also Abram's half-sister. In Egypt, Abram's decision to conceal this fact and disclose only part of the truth endangered her. She was taken to Pharaoh's house as a potential addition to the royal harem. Perhaps Abram forgot that God's people can always trust in his provision. God intended for Abram to be a blessing. Instead, he became a curse. The Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house. Even though Abram's sin was the primary offense, Pharaoh was implicated and consequently suffered. The Bible, that's it for Genesis 12. Let's go on to what I was saying about the importance of setting goals. Well, let me comment a little bit more about this. So Abram was afraid they would kill him to take his wife. It seems like he was being prudent. He just didn't know they were that she was so rare and beautiful that they would take her to the Pharaoh's house himself. So that brings the deceit to a whole nother level when he is perpetrating a fraud to the king of the land as opposed to just people of the city. So he was lucky to escape unharmed. But maybe Pharaoh just admired that he had such a beautiful wife and that she was an impressive woman. So he didn't want to harm the woman by harming her husband. And also that he respected Abram because Abram had the good taste and wisdom to select such an outstanding woman. So I know I respect a man who has a beautiful woman. It shows a lot for his character. And so maybe the Pharaoh didn't want to kill him because out of respect. Anyway, so we were talking before that, about setting goals. You want to write down some goals, just on a note, ideally get some pages of paper and be as detailed as you can. Where you want to live, what kind of food you want to eat, your bank account, your investments, real estate, automobiles, your woman or man, how your children will be, what schools they'll go to, how you'll educate them. Now think, also, if you don't have these things already, you need to adjust your belief system and your values. Your beliefs and your values are shaped by, at first, your parents, then maybe brothers and sisters, and then when you go outside, your friends. You try to be loved, you try to be accepted by them, and so you shift your beliefs each time, and then when you get into school, there's more pressure. You want to blend in and be accepted by the class and by the teacher, the principal. And so when they say, good little boys always say please and thank you, or good little boys always do their homework, then you change that affects your values and your beliefs. So that's all happens on a subconscious level. You don't know you're being formed and molded. Just like commercials form and mold you into buying certain soda, buying certain cars, buying certain phones or apps or computers, picking a certain type of woman or a certain type of man. The media, social media, movies, television, they all affect your values and your belief system. So, now that you understand that, try to change it a little bit. Say, what would I have to believe in order to start that business? What would my values have to be to make that business successful? I will have to work 8 hours a day, play, like generally, most people will work 8 hours, play 8 hours, and sleep 8 hours out of the 24-hour period. So you say, if I want to start that business, I need to first do some groundwork. So I'm going to work my 8 hours, play 6 hours, devote 2 hours to saving up money or studying, figuring out how to get that business going, and then sleep your 8 hours. Figure out what you have to believe, what your values have to be to make that business successful, or just to get the business started. So that's another step in goal setting. Just want you to think about that, and please post in the comments any questions, or if you like or subscribe, please post I liked it, I subscribed, so I can thank you personally. I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and God bless you.